All right, finna go to get started. What's good? What's good? Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Nani. Appreciate for stopping by, my guy. All right, we're finna go to get started. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast. For today's episode 156, we're going to be talking about the virtue of patience. Now, this is going to be um, definitely a good episode for sure, for sure. So, I'm gonna try to make it as fun as I possibly can, but I definitely need to address a few things. So, first thing I want to say is thank you to all the people who have supported me and who continue to support me, and I appreciate your time and attention for today's episode. Today is going to be my 500th episode or my 500th video uploaded on this channel. So I just want to say I wouldn't have made it without the support of my loved ones, and this is definitely a huge accomplishment for me because when you're first, or for anybody realistically, if you're first starting to make YouTube videos, it's definitely going to be one of those milestones that you cannot wait to hit because um, yeah, you just can't wait to hit 500 videos. Right? Like I said, it's one of those it's usually like 100. That's like the first milestone. I can't wait to hit 100 videos. Then it's like 500, then it's 1,000, of course. But definitely a great milestone, and I'm definitely proud of myself for going ahead and achieving that. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys' support. I do want to say I do apologize for not being able to be as actively involved with the channel as I'd like to be, especially within this last week. Unfortunately, we had some family passing. I'm not gonna really go too specific with it, but uh, yeah, I just had to deal with that and deal with the mourning and all of what comes with the passing of a family member. But I just want to say, yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for that. But that was the reason why I was gone for this last week. Obviously, I do podcast Tuesdays and Thursdays. Last week, it just wasn't going to happen. It wasn't practical, and yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for that. Yes, I am back. Like I said, if you're in the comments, make sure you go ahead and leave a comment if you're actually watching this for sure, for sure. So yeah, like I said, today's topic, first before I get it started, like I said, a little rusty now. Make sure you go and follow me on TikTok, just Life of a Champ podcast on TikTok, as well as make sure you go ahead and leave a like on my YouTube clips as well as my YouTube shorts. If you can't catch a full podcast but still want to get the game that I be spitting, it's definitely going to be your best friend for sure. Other than that, like I said, today's episode, the virtue of patience. Now, this is going to be one that I feel like a lot of people, pretty much everybody, really needs to hear this because this is going to be a topic that I feel like unfortunately gets a little neglected, and especially you can get if you're an observer of society, you can pretty much get lost in the sauce and not be able to re-emphasize the focus of needing to be patient, especially being a patient person. So I'm gonna speak on certain areas that I feel like people need patience. And if you're watching this live or rewatching this, I want you to go ahead and leave it in the comments. Is there a certain aspect of life that you think people need to be more patient with? Um, like I said, the first thing I want to start with, and this is going to be one that I feel like a lot of people can truly resonate with, especially if you're a younger man and you're not getting women as much as you possibly like. And of course, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for that. So, patience with your love life, right? These things in life, the best things in life are worth waiting for, right? And I feel like a lot of people, and especially a lot of young men, they try to like rush into this, and they try to just feel as much as they possibly can. Um, and like I said, as quickly as they can, even when they're not as developed as they need to be, or the person that they need to be in order to attract the partner that's truly going to be there for them. But yeah, patience with your love life. If you're a person right now, let's just say you're not attracting women, right? You need to have patience with yourself. You need to have patience with these women, right? You're not the final product. So therefore, how can you expect? Not that you're ever going to be the final product, but how can you expect um, somebody to truly value you if you're not 100% valuable? Doesn't if that makes any sense? But I feel like a lot of people they want to rush into these things. So for example, they want to rush into the next interaction with a woman or the next interaction with the man, or they want to hurry up and get into a relationship, or they want to hurry up and get out of a relationship. There's certain things like that. I feel like a lot of people truly need to reemphasize and truly value it for what it is, and build up this level of patience when it comes to your love life. Because like I said, if you're not in the position that you are right now, there's probably indicators that would suggest the reason why you aren't where you want to be. So therefore, if you're a man and you don't get women, for example, right, there's probably going that's a telltale sign that you're lacking in some capacity within your life. So therefore, you need to go ahead and compensate for that, or you need to build yourself up from that, right? But the patience with the love life is going to be a huge thing. Like I said, if you, especially if you're a woman watching this as well, right? If you're not exactly having the most favorable circumstances within your life, um, it's just going to be one of those things that you just need to you truly need to just make sure you're being who you need to be for the people that for that person, right? Whoever that person, whatever that person looks like to you, and you also need to be very very clear with that as well. Sarah, appreciate for stopping by. Nani, appreciate for stopping by as well. If you're not willing to wait, then you're probably not ready for whatever is. Anyways, exactly, exactly. Jaden is 100% right with that for sure. Appreciate for stopping by as well. Yes, I am back. You already know what time it is, fellas. But yeah, you're exactly right. If here's the thing, if you're not content with waiting, like she had mentioned, then you're probably not ready for it, right? You need to just have this, and it's hard to have this level of patience, like I said, right? With the advent of social media, this is not something that is particularly marketed to us, right? We're not programmed to have this level of patience because we want everything right now, right? And that's probably one of the hugest, probably one of the biggest problems with with the society in general is we want everything right now. We want the instant gratification right now. We want to feel good right now. We want to be happy right now. But that's not how life works, right? Now, like I said, it is marketed to us that way, right? Where we can all get these things. Um, we can be happy right now. We can be getting everything that we want right now. But that's truly not how life works. Like I said, it's just what is shown to us. But just because it's shown to us doesn't mean it's actually attainable. And with that being said, that's where the patience comes in. And like Sarah had mentioned in the comments, that's a great quote. Of course, good things come to those who wait. Good things come to those who wait, right? It's as simple as that, right? But one thing I want to reemphasize with this as well, and like I said, there's going to be a lot of different areas where you're going to need to apply patience or become a patient person in order to thrive within that level of life or within that endeavor of life. But the one that I want to reemphasize on, and this is not only speaking to the people that are watching this, but this is also speaking to my own self. This is going to be patient with my own self, patient with you watching this right now, with patience within your own self, and patience with the progress that you either haven't made or have made. Right? I feel like at least I could speak for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this could probably resonate with this as well. Right? I'm my own biggest critic, and it is hard to not be exactly where I want to be. Right? And and I here's the thing. There's probably lessons that you need to learn first, right? You need to build the character that is going to be ready for that experience. So, for example, and if you, here's the thing. Okay, I'm getting a little bit off tangent, but yes, patience with yourself, right? There's going to be certain there's going to be certain there's going to be certain parts of the journey that seem like they're dragging on forever. You're not understanding you're not understanding why it's happening. Like I said, maybe stuff isn't adding up for you, right? In those moments, you need to apply patience. You need to be patient with yourself and understand that this is a long game. This game of life, hopefully, is going to be a long game, right? And with that being said, with the progress that you've made that progress, and it is supposed to be that way, right? You are the way that you're supposed to be. The things that have happened into your life happen for a reason, right? With all those beliefs and with all those understandings, it should be a little bit easier to be patient with yourself, right? And with the progress that you've made. Even if you aren't particularly satisfied with the progress that you've made, hopefully you still have time left in the game. Hopefully you have another day left, right? And I say hopefully because, quite frankly, you can't guarantee anything to anybody. But I would say wherever you are in your journey, whether you're having a good moment or whether you're having a bad moment, all I'm going to say is this. You must be patient with yourself. Patient that there's going to be good days ahead of you. Patient that there's going to be lessons that need to be extracted out of those bad days that will inevitably come, right? Patient nonetheless, because if you're not patient, you're going to be living within a negative emotion, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's whatever it is, right? You're going to be living within a negative frequency, a negative vibration, and you definitely don't want to go ahead and do that. So, with that being said, you must be patient with yourself. Understand that you probably have a lot of time left in this game of life, and go from there, man. Go from there. Take advantage of the now, right? You must take advantage of the now. Simple as that. And yeah, one thing I want to mention with this as well is like we don't understand the utility of somebody who's truly patient until we observe somebody who's truly patient or somebody's patient towards us. But here's the thing: if you're already given exactly what you have wanted to got, and if you have already gotten exactly what you wanted to get within this life, and it was just given to you, you're not going to feel as satisfied. You're not going to feel as content with yourself if you already got it, right? Because like I had mentioned, right, everything that's going to be given to you within this life isn't within your possession right now because you haven't built the character that is able to actually attain that, right? You're not vibrating at the frequency which would be in order for you to go ahead and attract that. And that like I said, that's just what it is within life right now. You can give me all the reasons why you should have it. You can give me all the things that make you feel like you need it right now. But at the end of the day, that's just going to be what it is, right? It's just going to be you thinking, right? It's not going to be you actually doing or being, right? But with that being said, understand the utility of a patient person, right? I've been thankful enough to have a lot of people who have shown me what true patience looks like. Patience for what they want, patience for who they want to be. And that is a beautiful sight that I really can't show you unless it's either happened to you or you become it yourself. But nonetheless, you're going to need to have patience. And like I had mentioned, there's going to be plenty of different areas within your life that you're going to need patience within, right? And if you're watching this, if I forget to mention one or if you think one is worth mentioning, I want you to go ahead and leave in the comments. I'm going to read some of these comments real quick. What are some things people can do to work on patience in certain situations, or what does patience look like to you? So, like I said, it's all going to depend on the certain situation that they're in, of course. But I feel like patience is letting what is just be, if that makes any sense, right? It's letting the circumstance that is just be. You're emotionally not affected by it because you're content and you're cognizant of the circumstance and what it is and your positioning within life, right? And with that being said, like I said, that's going to look different for every single endeavor in life. Or maybe it's patience within the progress that you've made in the gym, right? What can you really say or do to that, right? Like I said, your progress is going to be what it is. That's just what it is, right? But yeah, it's going to look different for every single person. But at the end of the day, you're in the position that you're in for a reason. And with that being said, good thing for you, you're the only person that can truly improve or get yourself out of that situation that you're being patient for. But if you don't have patience, then you're going to leave yourself up to be vulnerable to negative emotions, to things that don't make sense, to a higher level of understanding than what you're letting yourself feel, right? And like I mentioned, we want all the things now, right? I want to be the biggest and the best podcaster right now, right? I want to be the strongest version of myself. I want to look like this ideal version of what the future champ's going to look like, right? I want all these things, but quite frankly, like I said, I haven't put in the work, enough work, in order to attain that. I haven't built the character in order to go ahead and attain that. And part of building that character is going to be understanding the life situation that I'm in right now, understanding the circumstances and the progress that I have made, and understanding that these moments in time that I'm having, whether I believe that I should be having the experience or not, are going to be building the character that will forever be, right? Same thing with you. You watching this right now. Maybe you're doing a thing at work and you didn't really like doing it, and you said, you know what, this would be the last time I'm doing this. It'd be one of those moments that would emotionally affect you or maybe even emotionally fuel you later on, right? It is going to be needed for you to go through that unnecessary, what can feel unnecessary experience in order to build the character, in order to build the motivation, in order to build the self-discipline. Like I said, in order to build the character that you need to be. But patience is definitely going to be one of those things because, quite frankly, if you look at there's two people that exist within the scenario, right? The people that have patience and the people that do not have patience. If you observe them, which one do you want to be like? And that's pretty obvious because, like I had mentioned, if you're a person that is lacking patience, you're going to feel worried, you're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel depressed, you're going to feel unsatisfied, you're going to feel unfulfilled. But if you're a person that is constantly working on your patience, and I feel like patience is in itself is an odd thing because quite frankly you can't really acquire patience. You can acquire you can acquire patience, but it's more of like a passive like acquisition. If that makes any sense. It's just going to happen, right? I can't like you can't like detract the progress. You can't add to the progress of being patient, right? It's just going to be what it is. You're just going to be a patient person. Or life's going to put you in situations where you're going to need to be patient. And if you want to remove yourself from the negative emotions or what possibly can be the negative emotions, understand where you are right now, where you want to be, and understand that there's going to be this journey, truly this journey or experience that you're going to need to go through in order to mold you into being a patient person, right? Intuition is the conscious experience in pure spirit. Wait, are you talking? He's talking about spiritual stuff. Yeah, sure, yeah. We're not really mentioning intuition, but yes, I understand what you mean for sure, for sure. Yeah, and I want to reiterate this point because I think it's very very valid for me to bring up before I move on with the podcast, right? And I want to reiterate this because there's so much emphasis that needs to be placed on this, right? Because this is why people are impatient, right? We're all programmed to want it right now, but like I had mentioned, the best things in life are the ones that truly take time in order for you to truly value it for what it is. Because here's the thing. For example, let's just say you wanted $1 million, and $1 million, as soon as you had that thought, you had $1 million right there, right? How are you going to truly value that $1 million if you didn't you didn't develop the character, right? You weren't patient, you didn't do anything, you just got it. How are you going to truly value it for what it is and for what it should be valued for if it was just given to you, right? It would ruin the beauty of the game, if that makes any sense, right? It would ruin the value of experience. It would ruin all these things that we value. It wouldn't make sense of the negative times of life. That just wouldn't make any sense. But the only thing that truly makes sense of the negative things of life are going to be the positive things, of course. But with that being said, understand the utility of patience. Understand that life's going to constantly test you, going to constantly put you in certain situations where you're going to need to prevail once again in order to show the universe that you're a patient person and you're patiently waiting for the things that are meant for you. And I want to reiterate this as well. You just haven't built the character in order for you to truly deserve what you want. That's what it is. That's what it is, right? And like I said, some people are gonna feel some type of way about that. I don't care, man, because quite frankly, I'm living that same life experience where I'm not exactly particularly the most content or the most patient person, but nonetheless, I still have to develop my patience because I'm not gonna get everything that I want right now. But that's okay because if you're doing what you need to do and being the person that you need to be and building the character they need to build, and part of that with being the patient person that you need to be for everyone else, you're gonna eventually attain that. You're gonna eventually attain that for sure. So, if you're watching this, I appreciate you for stopping by. If you have any elements that you want to mention within today's podcast, I want you to go ahead and leave in the comments. If there's any area of life or situation within life where you feel like patience needs to be applied, or if you feel like more people need to be patient towards a certain situation, I want you to go to leave in the comments. But getting into it, I'm gonna give you another one of those life endeavors that I feel like a lot more people need to be patient with. This is going to be the patience with the process of your healing, right? Everybody has gone through something. Everybody's gone through bad experiences. Everybody's gone through traumas, unfortunately, right? But nonetheless, how you go about the healing process is going to be an interesting an interesting aspect of life, and I feel like a lot of people need to be very very patient with themselves, because that is truly one thing that I ran into when it comes to certain things that I truly needed to get over, whether it was a breakup or whether it was a family death or whatever it was, right? This level of patience that you're going to need to have with yourself is going to be something that truly is only going to be developed through those times of unfortunate circumstance, right? But nonetheless, you cannot constantly get mad at yourself for not being exactly what you want to be right now. So for example, let's just say you lost a loved one, but you don't like crying, but yet you can't stop crying. You keep crying every single day for a week, right? You must have patience with yourself that things will get better. Um, that thing that you don't want will eventually stop, right? You need to have patience with all of these things. You need to have patience with your ability to heal because everybody's going to heal at a different pace and for different reasons and in different situations, and that's just what it is. But I feel like a lot of people especially within a breakup sense, they kind of get mad at themselves, or they kind of want to rush the process of healing, right? But like I had mentioned, these things take time. These things take time, and understandably so, they should take time, because how are you going to be able to fully move on to the next phase of life if you're not content with the situation that had been, right? If you weren't patient with that, if you weren't patient enough to break it down for what it is, right? But yes, I want to reiterate that because I do feel like a lot of people who are on their process of healing, they want to kind of expedite that process. They want to skip steps. They want to void themselves from certain situations, when in reality, they just need to be patient. They need to be patient, and they need to take the time to heal, right? And maybe this message is applying to you, maybe it's not. But if it is, just understand that everybody's going to take the amount of time that they feel is necessary, and you might not even know what it is for yourself. And that is completely okay, because if you're a patient person, if you're developing your patience, that's okay, right? But nonetheless, you must have patience with yourself, right? I'm going to reiterate this a few times because I understand how important it is, and I understand that I want to reiterate this importance to y'all. So, yes, you can't cheat your way. Part of the process. Part of the process. Exactly right, GDP. Exactly right. Uh, and I want to mention this other one because I do believe it is going to be ultimately one of the most important things, and something that I feel like I can truly speak for myself when it comes to this, and something that I truly need to get better at. Another element that you truly need to be patient with. This is going to be having patience within your loved ones, right? Now, there's going to be a lot of different reasons that I could give you for needing to be patient with a loved one, but nonetheless, understand that everybody's on their own time. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's experiencing this life for the first time, maybe. With that being said, you must have patience with your loved ones. You must love them more in the moments where you feel like you need to be. You must love them more in certain situations where you feel that your patience is being tested. In those moments, you must love them more. But I feel like a lot of people, they get mad, they get frustrated, they get maybe anxious, they get depressed based off of maybe a person within their circle of influence that isn't doing exactly what they need to do, or being the person that they need to be. Nonetheless, here's the thing. At the end of the day, everybody's on their own time. Everybody's going to take their own time with whatever they're doing, right? And all you can do is just be patient. Be ready and be patient. That's it. Be ready if they need some help. Just obviously you can assist them, and be patient with taking exactly however long of a time that they need. That's all that anyone could ask for from anyone, right? That is going to be one of the biggest. This is why this podcast needed to be had, because this is one of the biggest elements that I feel like would truly help the world and bring a lot more peace to people's lives, and a lot more inner peace within oneself, if you were just understanding that you needed to be patient, right? All right. Let me go ahead and respond to this comment, then I'll continue with it. But like I said, if you guys have any questions or comments, or like I had mentioned, areas of life where you feel like more people need to be patient with, go ahead and leave it in the comments for sure. Do you find yourself, as I'm reading a comment, do you find yourself having an uncontrollable anger, not necessarily violent, but a high irritation towards a person when they are incapable of completing a task you assign for them, as if you are the only person capable of completing such a task? You find it so basic, but they can't do it. Um, I feel like there's a lot of things that could be said about that specific thing. Maybe you feel like you need to control things. So that might be, of course, this is all internal work that you need to have. Do I find, okay, I'll answer that question personally. Do I find myself having uncontrollable anger, not necessarily violent, but a high irritation towards a person when things are incapable of completing, or when they are, yeah, okay. Um, I'm gonna say I don't necessarily have that exactly, or at least not often at all. I feel like I have my moments where I'm more irritated or irritable, than I typically would be, and in those moments, it's probably going to lead up to something with maybe you have an eight. At least this is the way that I personally see it. When I get mad or frustrated towards something, it's usually because I have an eight. It's usually because maybe I haven't worked out yet. It's usually because maybe I didn't do the work that I need to do. It's stemming from something, but there's going to be a root problem, I think, that's going to be is going to be had. But maybe it's just one of these, and I've had these as of recently, or not too recently, but I've had them um, come up where I just have this weird like anger. And in those moments, you need to take more time for yourself. And like I had mentioned, right, if you're getting mad at a specific person for not being able to complete the task as well as you would like them to do, so therefore you're trying to take it into your own hands, there's going to be a certain level of control that you feel like you need to have, right? And that you need to just release because that is something that you can't control, right? You feel like you can control it and you want to control it, but you can't control it. You need to release attention for the things in which you cannot control. And with that being said, when it comes to the anger aspect, maybe there's another root cause that's triggering your anger, and maybe that's something that you need to go and figure out. And maybe you just need more patience, man. Maybe you just need to develop your patience, and maybe God's constantly putting you in positions for you to develop your patience because he understands that you need it more than another person might. That's the way that I would personally answer that. But like I had mentioned, if you have any questions or comments regarding anything, leave it in the comments for sure. Is it just me or is it sounding a little bit weird? I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't know. All right, getting into it. The next thing that I feel like, yeah, I want to reiterate this as well. Like I said, patience with your loved ones. Just have patience. Like I said, in the moments where people make you frustrated, especially if your loved ones, maybe they're not doing a thing that you need them to do, whatever it is, right? Love them more in those certain situations. And of course, it is going to be hard to go ahead and truly apply that within the circumstance. And of course, that's a lot easier to say than for you to actually go ahead and apply it. But nonetheless, you must have patience. You must have patience. You must take the time, and this is what I would do. If you're a person that is struggling with being patient, if you're put in a situation and somehow, some way you're being mindful that you need to be patient, maybe this looks like taking a step away from your environment. Maybe this looks like closing your eyes and taking a few breaths, right? Whatever it is, put yourself in a position where you're less emotionally vulnerable or less emotionally expressive. That's gonna be your best bet for sure, right? Um, and one thing I want to reiterate this, I want to mention as well, right? If you're young and you're watching this, you have plenty of time, right? You have plenty of time. And like I had mentioned, with the advent of social media, it feels like we need everything instantly, right? When that's not how life works. But truly understand that you have time within this game of life. You should have time within this game of life. Hopefully, you have time within this game of life. And like I had mentioned, right? Whatever you feel like you need to have patience within, it's all just testing you. It's all just developing the character that you need to be for everyone else around you. And you must view it as exactly like that, because if you don't, you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to be emotionally vulnerable. You're going to be emotionally overly expressive, right? And those aren't going to be the prettiest moments. I'm going to say that because I've seen it time and time again where, like I said, people are either angry at themselves or angry at somebody else or unsatisfied with the amount of progress that they've made. And to avoid yourself from all those negative ways of being, negative vibrations or frequencies, your best bet's going to be bringing yourself back to a very, very conscious state, being very, very aware of what's going on, being very, very aware of yourself, and then putting yourself in a more relaxed state. I'll say that. I think it's important to find a balance in life. We need to be. Hold up, man. Am I reading this wrong? Exactly. You're right. You're right. You're right. And Josh, you're exactly right with that. Right. It's all part of the human experience at the end of the day. Right. You're not going to be able to control yourself. You're not going to always be as mindful as you would like to be. Um, and yeah, of course, those the outbursts are eventually they're almost inevitable. They're inevitable over a long period of time. Right. Yeah. Like I said, I'm glad to hear of your progress, man. I'm glad to hear of your progress. But yeah, that is just part of being human. And of course, like I had mentioned, right, there's going to be plenty of moments, and I'm speaking this as a reminder to myself because this is something that I need to work on just as much as the next person, right? There's going to be plenty of moments where I'm impatient. There's going to be plenty of moments where I'm impatient with myself, impatient with the progress that I've made, impatient with the people that are around me. But nonetheless, like Josh had mentioned, right, that is just kind of like the human experience in itself. But but the state of being patient, the state of wanting to be more patient, the state of needing to develop patience is still going to be a key aspect of that, right? And with that being said, even though I will inevitably have these moments where I'm less patient, the answer to the problem, the answer to the solution to my problem is still going to be the same, right? This is going to be putting myself in a very, very conscious state where I understand that this is going to be something that happens from time to time, and it'll eventually pass. And like I had mentioned, this is another thing that I hopefully can tell you that's going to apply to a lot more than just needing to be patient, but it's developing your character and molding you into the person that you need to be for everyone else. That's what it is at the end of the day. That's what experiences in life are. That is what these moments of being tested look and feel like, right? You won't ever move to the next step until you gain the amount of patience you need for that specific time. So being impatient only makes things take longer. Jaden, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And that's what it is, right? Like I said, I'll speak from my own personal experience with being impatient because, quite frankly, like I said, a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people can pretty much feel exactly what I'm about to say. But for example, right, this is my 500th video uploaded, right? I once had an idea, and I knew it would take years for people to truly see the vision that I had. Some people seen it immediately. Other people, they still need help with seeing exactly what I see. But I understand at the end of the day that I need to be patient with myself. I need to be patient and understanding of my own progress, right? Being on my own time, right? And patient with the people that don't see the vision yet, right? That's just what it is. And if I wasn't patient, if I wanted it all right now, then I would not be developing the character that I need to be in order to eventually attain that, right? But yeah, like I said, 500 videos uploaded, right? If I wasn't a patient person, if I wanted it all right now, I'd be very, very resenting, be very, very angry, be very, very frustrated, confused. Like I'd mentioned, any and every negative emotion that could be had, I would have been feeling that way. I would have been going through that experience. But here's the thing: having this level of patience with yourself and with the progress that you're making doesn't exactly take away from the fact that you want it that bad, or the fact that you're putting in the work, or rather not putting in the work. Like I said, it's just an understanding. It's just a true understanding. It should give you a level of comfort to understand that you need to be patient and that life's testing you and that you hopefully will prevail, right? And like I had mentioned, it's not exactly 100% easy to be mindful of all these things while you're in the moment and going through that experience. But nonetheless, you will eventually, hopefully, now hearing this, will come to this conclusion, right? This is why I make this podcast, right? I make these podcasts to get you guys thinking. And if you're ever in that situation, the podcast is going to be thought about, right? You're going to be like, you know what? The world's testing me, right? My patience is being tested today. But it's okay because it's developing me to be the character that I need to be for everyone else, right? Just little things like that hopefully will put you in a better position. Just having that thought, right, will put you in a better position. But yeah, give me a second. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments regarding anything, or if you want to add to the podcast, if you want to add in a specific element where you feel like more people need to be patient, make sure to go ahead and leave in the comments. Like I said, whether you're watching this or watching this live, I can always make these podcasts better, and I might make a part two. So if you have any other elements that you feel like a lot of people need to be more patient with, um, let me know in the comments. I wasn't here for the beginning of the stream, so excuse me if I'm reiterating your already stated points. I believe the root of the issue is social media. TikTok, YouTube, and all these social medias are causing our attention spans to hang on by a thread. We have no patience anymore. 20 years ago, I found people watching much more easygoing. I found people much more easygoing. Exactly, exactly. You're exactly right. Of course, and this is, yeah, it's something that I had mentioned, right? With the advent of social media, these things that we're being programmed in order to consume, right, aren't exactly within understanding of the human experience, right? These things are, you see people getting things instantly, and you're like, oh, I want to be that person. But here's the thing: what you must realize as well is, yeah, maybe there are people on the outside that maybe look like they're getting something very, like, instantly, right? That are appealing to this appealing to this ideal, right? Of it immediately happening. Like I said, you wanting something and it immediately happening, right? Some of those people that were given things too early, they end up losing it. because they didn't develop the character that they needed to develop in order to not only attain but to keep that certain thing. Maybe they somehow, some way, they got it, but they didn't develop the character to go ahead and keep it. So therefore, it's almost like, why did they even get it in the first place, right? The last thing you want to be is a person who has just enough patience to get it, but not enough patience to keep it. You need to develop your patience regardless. When your patience is being tested, you definitely have to take a step back from the situation. You're exactly right. And like I said, you can go about it in many different ways, but nonetheless, you need to be patient, right? And like I said, a lot easier said than done. A lot easier said than done. But nonetheless, patience. The virtue of patience is one worth attaining, and you attain it through life's constant tests that it will have. Like I said, the inevitable tests that life will give you, whether it's through certain people, whether it's through a certain life situation, nonetheless, it's going to be brought to your attention, something that you're going to need to develop, right? But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for today's podcast. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Like I said, if you've gotten anything from this podcast, or maybe there's a point that I've mentioned that you truly have enjoyed or took something from, I want you to go ahead and leave in the comments. I'm going to reiterate all the things that I had mentioned on today's podcast, and then I'll go ahead and end it off. But I do appreciate you guys for stopping by. I appreciate your time and attention, nonetheless. But like I said, right, this is the 500th video upload on this channel. Huge milestone, but like I said, I'm still gonna celebrate this experience because, quite frankly, it is something worth celebrating, of course. But nonetheless, I need to be patient, right? Of course, I could be let's just say, like I said, we're taking my own certain situation. We could say, when I first started making videos, I would say maybe around my 500th video, I'll be exactly where I want to be at, right? Now that I'm here, I'm not exactly where I want to be. But here's the thing, I have a lot more patience now. I understand what it takes. I understand what I have to do. I've acquired that patience in order for me to inevitably get the success that I've always been talking about, right? But here's the thing, if I was never patient, maybe I would have already quit. Who knows, right? Maybe I would say, if I wasn't a patient person, if I didn't develop my patience for the last year and a half, almost 2 years now with this podcast, maybe I would have said, if I'm not going to get exactly what I want when I want it, I'm just going to quit. Then look where I've been. Look, then you understand. Then you begin to understand the character that needed to be developed, right? You see all the flaws within being an impatient person, right? But like I had mentioned, you're not always going to get everything that you want within this life exactly when you want it, and that is the way that it's supposed to be. And like I said, whether you understand it now or whether you understand it later, looking back at it, that's going to be what it is. You're going to need to develop your patience. You're going to need to develop it. And if you don't have it developed, like I had mentioned, you're going to put yourself in a very, very vulnerable situation where you can be emotionally affected and emotionally swayed. And that's not at least for me personally, that is not a particularly ideal circumstance or ideal way of being. What a beautiful soul you have, champ. Thank you. I really appreciate that, sir. I really appreciate that. But yes, nonetheless, patience is needed. There's going to be a lot of areas of life where patience is going to need to be had. And if you're a person that is lacking patience, then hopefully life constantly keeps giving you these tests where you need to be patient. Maybe you weren't patient with a certain person, and later on it manifested within a person yelling at you for an unnecessary reason because you didn't have the patience, right? Or let's just say you work in customer service, right? Let's just say you weren't patient with somebody. So the karma's coming back, and now you got a customer yelling at you. You got a customer not being as patient as they should be, right? It'll all come back. It all comes back, right? If you're not patient, God's going to constantly keep giving you these tests in order for you to learn the value of patience and what it truly looks like. But yeah, like I mentioned, right? Patience, and I'm sure, here's the thing, I haven't said it on today's podcast yet, but patience is a virtue, right? It's too cliche. That's why I didn't want to title it that. But patience is a virtue, right? You must be patient for what you want to attain within this life, because if you're not patient, the last thing you want to be is, oh man, like, I want it, man, like, or maybe you're crying, or maybe you're anxious, maybe you just don't exactly feel the way that you want to feel inside, right? That's obviously an issue, right? It's obviously less than ideal, but nonetheless, if you develop that patience, you wouldn't be feeling that way. You'd be very, very understanding of your life situation. You'd be understanding of the progress that you've made and the journey that you're on and the experiences that you will have inevitably with this journey, right? But nonetheless, I know I'm still going to struggle with it just like the next person is. But at the very least, putting yourself in a position where you're at least mindful of when you're in a position where your patience is being tested is going to be more ideal, I'd say. And hopefully, you watching this moving forward, if you're going to be in a position, let's just say tomorrow, where your patience is being tested, right? And like I said, there's going to be many different aspects that would suggest that your patience is being tested, but maybe within your present moment, maybe it's not like exactly, maybe it's not exactly like a certain situation that you'll have tomorrow. Maybe it's patience within the progress that you've been making within your career or within your maybe out of career, right? Maybe it's maybe in the gym, right? Patience nonetheless is going to need to be had and need to be developed, and it's only by putting yourself in those positions, right? There's going to be certain positions that you can put yourself in, hopefully, kind of, that can develop your patience, but nonetheless, nothing comes to those who are impatient. That's what it is at the end of the day. And patience stops you from being able to enjoy all the experiences of life, good and bad. Jaden is exactly right with that. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. But yes, I'm going to reiterate the things that I've mentioned, and then I'm going to go ahead and end it off. I do appreciate everyone stopping by, like I had mentioned. But, yeah, like I said, there's going to be a few different areas of life where you're going to need patience. The first one that I had mentioned is going to be patience within your love life. If you don't have the person that you want to be with for the rest of your life, that is okay. You're developing the character that is needed in order to attract that certain person. That is completely okay. You must have patience within yourself in the journey that you're on, and you must have patience with other people, right? Other people being the people, maybe the people that you're dating, right? Maybe right now you're dating somebody that won't last. Maybe you're dating them for, let's just say, a few months, right? Maybe all that experience is good for is developing the character that you will need within the relationship that you will have later on, right? You won't be able to see that, but you must understand that even in that certain situation, you might need patience, right? You might be developing your patience through that certain situation, right? It's that certain interaction, right? But nonetheless, it's a lot easier to say this than for it to be actually applied. And maybe you haven't even talked to a woman before in your whole life. But nonetheless, you're going to need to be patient with yourself, right? These things will come if you're deserving of this, right? I've never seen anybody that was deserving of something and not get what they were deserving of. And I'm sure you watching this, I'm sure you haven't seen that either, right? So with that being said, be the person that you need to be, man. Be patient with yourself, and especially within your love life. Another area, and I kind of already mentioned this, but yeah, I'm not going to mention that. So another area where you need to be patient in, and this is going to be, you need to be patient of the process that you're going through of healing, right? Whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is you need to heal from. Of course, there's going to be a lot of different situations where you're going to need to actually implement, or not actually implement, but actually understand that patience is needing to be had. And the last thing you want to do is rush something that you truly need to be patient with. And one of those things is going to be healing, right? This is something I see so often, unfortunately. And it's something within the dating market when I was dating women that I had seen time and time again. There's a lot of broken people, a lot of broken women, a lot of broken men walking around and trying to date people because they're not content within themselves, right? They don't understand that they need to heal, right? I've met a lot of women who are truly broken, unfortunately. And with that being said, they weren't patient with themselves. They weren't patient enough with what they're going through, right? They just tried to get a temporary fix for a situation that definitely needs more than a temporary fix. They applied a band-aid on a much bigger and deeper cut, right? With that being said, there's going to be a lot of different areas where you're going to need to be patient, but definitely with one of those, and I feel like the reason I need to mention is because I see too many people not being as patient with their process of healing, right? But if you're a person going through something, whether it's, like I said, a family death, or whether it's a breakup, whether it's any and everything that you need to be healing through, maybe it's you got injured, maybe you need to heal that way, right? There's many different ways in which you can heal, but nonetheless, it's going to take the time that it's going to need to take, right? You can't say it's going to take me 2 weeks. You can't say it's going to be over the next day, right? Only Here's the thing. You can't decide that, but only you can decide that, if that makes any sense, right? And you just need to be content and patient with that. Because if you're not, like I mentioned time and time again within this podcast, you're going to leave yourself up to being emotionally vulnerable, right? You're vulnerable to express these certain emotions. And like I said, you might inevitably, with going through the healing process of anything, you might inevitably go through these negative emotions or these moments of questioning, inevitably. But now adding impatience on top of that, and you're not in a good position. You're gonna be in a position that I see too often, honestly. But nonetheless, be patient with the process of healing because, quite frankly, it is needed. And like I had mentioned, everybody heals at their own pace, and that is completely okay. The last one, this is going to be patience with your loved ones, right? Everybody needs to develop this because, like I had mentioned, everybody wants people to be patient with them. But in order for people to be patient with you, you must first be patient with not only with yourself but with other people, right? There's going to be plenty of moments that do exist within this life that people are going to make you frustrated, right? But nonetheless, you need to learn that those experiences are developing your patience and are testing your patience. But nonetheless, right? Patience with your loved ones is going to be one of these things that I mentioned on today's podcast that is going to be one of the most significant things that I could truly give you in terms of advice because the last thing you want is for somebody to feel some type of way because you're not being patient with them. And like I had mentioned, when it comes back full circle, you're going to hopefully want and maybe even expect the person that you're talking to be patient, right? So therefore, you must give it back. You can't ask for something and not give it back, right? You can't want something and not give it back, right? That's just what it is. That's just what it is. But nonetheless, be patient with your loved ones. Be patient with the journey that you're on. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with other people, right? And you're going to be in a much better position because without that patience, you're putting yourself in a position that's less than ideal. That's just what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say for today's episode, right? This is my 500th video uploaded on the channel, like I had mentioned, right? If I didn't develop my patience, then I would be less understanding of the situation that I'm in. Through this time of building all these videos, editing all these videos, doing all these podcasts, I've been able to develop a certain level of patience and understanding within my own personal journey, understanding, of course, where I'm going to go eventually, but understanding that it's going to take maybe longer than I anticipated, and that's okay because everybody's on their own time. Everybody's on their own journey, right? Everybody is everybody's being tested in order to develop their patience. And that's just what it is, right? For reasons in which you cannot understand right now, those reasons are the reasons that you need to be patient. You might not fully understand it, but you need to be patient. And here's the thing: if you're watching this once, maybe you're in a situation where you need to develop your patience. Maybe you need to come back to this podcast and say, you know what, I need more of a level-headed person talking about a certain topic that I'm going through, right? Develop the patience, and you're going to be in a good position. Because if you don't develop the patience, you're going to have to deal with the repercussions of that. Like I said, if you want somebody to be patient with you, you have to be patient with other people. That's just the way that it is. But other than that, I appreciate everyone stopping by. Like I had mentioned, 500 videos uploaded, man. What an accomplishment. Like I had mentioned before, I appreciate your support more than you know. And I also appreciate your time and attention for taking the time out of your day to go ahead and hopefully try to be the best version of yourself in order for you to be the best version for other people. But other than that, I'll go ahead and end it off. This was episode 156 of the Life of a Champ podcast, talking about the virtue of patience. Like I had mentioned before, make sure you go ahead and follow me on TikTok. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on Rumble. Make sure you go ahead and follow me on YouTube. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. And make sure you go ahead and follow me on Twitch as well. What else do I have to say? Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. Other than that, I'll be having the next podcast on... What is it, on Thursday? So definitely tap in with that for sure. What else I want to say? Do I want to say anything else? Yeah, just have patience, man. That's all that it is, man. I'll leave you guys off with the podcast motto, and then I'll go ahead and end off. Fellas out here, man, we don't just work around here, man. Outwork. So make sure y'all work with these motherfuckers because you know that I am, man. About to get into the gym here right now in a minute. Like I said, fellas, be patient, and good things come to those who are patient. You guys have a good rest of your nights, and until next podcast on Thursday, have a good rest of the week.